All right, I know it's really dark in here, the lights are out, but I'm making something cool. So it's kind of hard to see from the screen, but it says Flex Point Off-Road, my number 4802. So I'm about a third of the way cut through on the plasma table over here. You know, it takes a little bit, and you still got to clean it up afterwards. Anyways, what these are going to be is about a 20 by 20 inch square, and I've been always wanting these, and these are going to be number plates, so that way in the pits at King of the Hammers I can have something staked down. That way when I'm coming into the pits, I know where my pit is, instead of like driving around looking around or radioing, hey, where are you at, and having people wave at me. I'm going to paint this thing a bright color, probably yellow, just something that sticks out, and it also looks like the background of the number plate normally. But that's what I'm going to do. I've been totally excited, been wanting to do this. I got one more day left, that's tomorrow, before I got to pack up and leave. So I'm trying to do some last minute things, and then I had a job come in, this Chevy right here, where I'm working on the radiator, you know. So the radiator actually failed, but it was lifetime warranty, so real nice, easy one right here. So I already got the new one swapped out from AutoZone, and I just got to go dump it back in and finish that up. So that's my last customer job before I got to pack up and leave too, so I'm pretty excited. So without further ado, let's get to plasma cutting. Clean it up and everything. So I'm gonna let it cool for a little bit, and then it's always one of my favorite parts, getting to put all the pieces back together after everything. Just leaving Reading right now to go down to King of the Hammers 2026. It was quite an event last night to get loaded up and everything, but here we are, and you know, nice beautiful morning, and can't complain. You know, there's no rain right now, and it was raining the other day, and so that's good. We got, you know, the wind seems good this morning, and everything's great. So thank you guys for following along on the journey, and I'm gonna keep filming along the way and show you guys, you know, what I've been doing and what's going on. Alright, this is the Boone Road. Wow, what a trip. So we made it to Apple Valley last night, and then we stayed the night, got some supplies this morning, ate at Denny's, and then got a trailer tire because I lost a tire yesterday on the way about Wesley's where we changed it. But yeah, it's good to be here. John and I, we both towed. Everything went pretty good for the most part. Oh wow, check those out. Those are rad. Back for one of those. Those are cool. I like that. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna go get checked in and get set up, and then we gotta figure out where we're gonna go do our shock tuning at. But yeah, it's cool to be here. I'm really glad. So here it is, the infamous Welcome to Hammertown.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you can get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll...
Well, good. Why don't you say hi, Jesse?
Hi, Jesse.
What are we about to do?
We're about to take on the King of Hammers in Johnson Valley for KOH 2026. We are gonna dominate.
So what does it mean for you to ride co-pilot for this race?
This is a dream come true, man. Like, I've dreamed of this stuff, but now I'm living this stuff. This is what, I mean, doing what I want to do. This is great. This is like a true blessing from God. It really is, man. I'm honored to be here with you.
Me too.
Definitely.
say, hey, we're out here, we're gonna do some shock tuning, you know, whatever you want to say. Give me some commentary, John. You're gonna be on TV. So it's Sunday, not a lot going on for myself. Got some coffee from the Can-Am little coffee cruiser, and decided to kind of mosey around Hammertown while it's actually super quiet and not crowded. So little update yesterday, we did some shock adjustments. It wasn't really like tuning, so we didn't actually have to open them up, even though we were expecting that. The car actually did very well, and we just had to do some external adjustments, and you know, really helped out the car's performance. So Phil Accardi at Liberty Mountain Fab did that for me. It was really cool to have him helping me out to make sure that the car's dialed in, and I feel really good about it. You know, out there I wasn't trying to push, but I got an easy 7-8 miles an hour where the car was a lot smoother, and I'm sure going faster it's even going to be even better. But you know, I want to be safe and make it to the race. And this is pretty cool right here. This is the start of the trophy trucks lining up. So if you've never seen one of these guys, Good luck today.
Thank you.
You guys ever watch The Goonies? You guys remember at the very end they got to play that bone piano to like get the little drawbridge to drop down so they could get to, you know, the ship with the treasure. This thing kind of reminds me of that thing. It's just the way it's all pointy and just brutal and barbaric looking. It looks like death and destruction. If you understand shocks and racing, you'll get what I'm saying. Pretty darn cool to see this thing. Got the Blackstone going. We got a ribeye, some potatoes, do some eggs from the house. So breakfast is going. We just watched the trophy trucks take off. Now it's time for breakfast. got a copy?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Got a few diehards up there still.
I just put that in low because we're going up from a dead stop.
Got it. Bottlenecked up.
I see all that.
How the Bronco does.
Those guys do pretty good. Those ones are built very well for their class. Yeah, there's a fucking drop right there, dude. Like nobody's out on the short course right now. Alright, so today's Tuesday. I'm about 45 minutes away from qualifying. So we got the car all cleaned up. Everything looks, you know, really good. Things are dusted off. I've been studying the qualifying course for a while. And I'm ready. It looks like it's going to be pretty challenging, and some of it's familiar terrain. You know, we've done this before, and they just kind of mixed up a little bit to change it up. But you know, I feel pretty confident in what's about to happen. Something you've never been on, you know, at least the short course. Yeah. Okay, this is it. Don't get scared now.
Nope. 5-second warning.
Yep. Okay, and then we gotta get ready to kick it right back in.
Hell yeah, brother. Good driving.
So this is the start of the tech contingency line for the EMC race. I just lined up. I waited pretty much
With my man, getting the chocolate eruption. We got the Venom Power right here behind us. That's gonna kick ass tomorrow and win this.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say thank you for always giving me good ice cream for the last several years.
Yep, anytime.
All right, so we just passed tech in the car right here. They made it nice and streamlined and kind of grouped up everything, so we didn't have to do a whole lot. And trackers on the car, as you can see. Kids are happy. Yeah. Trey's happy.
Let me get a picture of that screen.
Okay, this is it. Don't get scared.
Giggity, giggity, let's go.
to see if we can see if somehow that can be tucked up behind that mirror.
The first 10 miles of desert are supposed to be really rough.
Okay.
We're halfway through it. Yeah, keep where you're at. You'll stay out of the dust on this side of the line. Keep your visibility better.
Good, don't do that, don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't like it because it covers me.
Got him.
Good pass. literally doing is following his tail lights. I can't see anything, and just as long as I can see that light, I know we're probably all right. Let's just go all the way through. We don't need this shit. Be good to figure out where they're at for our next time. We don't even have anybody here. We didn't need it. I calculated it up not to have it. Gotcha. Give you a wipe down. You doing good? fastest car in front of us is that one that guy that's going to bounce from pit 1 to 2. He's helping him too. And then see about swooping my screen too. I'm sorry? Swoop my screen. Wipe it. Swoop it. It moved somehow. There you go.
All right, we're back from the race. So I want to give you an update on what happened. At one point we were in 9th place, and then we dropped to 11th and then 20th, and then it just got worse. About 50 miles in, I started experiencing, you know, some fuel pump issues. And what ended up happening was the filters just got plugged. So I had to actually take the filters off. But in order to do that, it'd take, you know, one chunk of the skid plate off, and it took about 30 minutes. So after we had passed a whole bunch of cars in the beginning that were really fast cars, we pulled the filters apart, got rid of the elements, just ran it all open. And then the car, you know, fired right back up and actually had fuel pressure again. And then what we did is made it a mission to go repass all those cars that passed us 30 minutes ago, which I think we got all of them down. And say our first trail we hit, that would have been Aftershock. We mowed through Aftershock. We got a couple passes in there, and that's one of my favorite trails. It's a real basic one, but it's big, you know. Got a couple cars in there. But we had passes, you know, early on that were really easy for us. And in the desert on lap 1, I was getting the car up to the mid 75s, you know, without any effort. You know, the motor's just humming along. Transmission felt really good. But what really gave us the edge that I haven't had was we had more revised shock tuning by Phil Licardi at Liberty Mountain. You know, we did that, and the car just hooked up tremendously better. And because of that, I was able to go through stuff that I've never been able to comfortably go at those speeds. And it was great because it allowed me to make passes in sections that were just straight nasty. And instead of going the pace I used to go with some of these other cars, I was able to just zip right by them, you know, without trying to kill myself. So that was really cool to do. So we came into main pit 1 here, and the Maxxis tire team gave us support, and they were phenomenally excellent. You know, they gassed us up, checked everything out. You know, we had no issues going on, and then off we went to start lap 2. Lap 2 was good. You start back out in the desert, start going, you know, on about a third of the desert we already did, and then you get out to heads into some light rock trails, and then drops you down into pit 2. At that point, we had only needed fuel, and we took some fuel, which we'll give you an update on that later on. And then we started hitting all the rock trails, and pretty shortly after that, we were in Sledgehammer. And Sledgehammer we did very, very quickly. We had one car in front of us during that whole thing, and you know, we both just hummed right through there. There was no hanging up, no issues. And then came the infamous Jackhammer Trail. And what I was told yesterday is a lot of the top contenders in the UTV race all broke and DNF'd in that area because of that. So I already had a feeling we were gonna be doing a lot of winching in there. And when I got up to the waterfall area, there was about 3 lines open that were drivable lines, but every one of them was bad. Well, the driver line, which would be your left, the center line, they had broken cars. So I opted to just keep moving and try this passenger line. And when I got in there, I spun my car all kinds of weird ways. And so we tried to get the winch out, you know, almost immediately. And we probably had at least 30 winch rope failures in that whole thing. And the rope just snapped over and over and over again. And it didn't matter what we did, how we tied it, it just kept breaking. And every time like the car would start to get a pull, you just hear dink, 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 and then the rope would just snap. So I was really let down by the winch rope. That cost us 45 minutes to an hour in that place. And I mean, it wasn't like it was easy winching. It was straight about as bad as it gets that you're gonna run a winch. We were almost out of jackhammer, and the rope finally broke right at the base, you know, the winch roller drum. And my neighbor right over here in the pit that's right next to us, he was like, you know, our car's broke, let me just get you the rope off our car and, you know, hook it up. So what we did is we tied it to the little stub that was left on my drum, so we didn't have to rehook it to that. And that was able to pull us out at that point because the rope stopped breaking. And so because of the help that our neighbor here gave us, we were able to get out, and that tremendously helped us because we were getting our butts kicked in there. I mean, just over and over and over again, pulling the rope out. The rope, just from what it was doing, it was getting jammed up. The rope's going in, going out when it's not supposed to. And then at the very top of the trail right there, I had to just kind of hammer on the car because I could tell my co-pilot was just getting mentally and physically exhausted, you know, and I was about at the point too, and I told him we're not going to winch anymore. And I just started hammering down on the car up the driver left lane and almost got all the way up. And then one of the recovery guys that was up there, course worker, they were able to let us hook to their rope. Which was a winch point, and we were able to like winch to that a couple more feet and got out of there. And then we didn't do any more winching the rest of the day. The course kind of ran you out some weird ways. There was this weird like 180 U-turn thing that was like super long, and it was like a rock trail where you drove on one side, got to the very end of it, and then for no reason turned around and you almost ran like a car length right next to it the whole way back. And I don't remember ever running that course for our races out here. And it was kind of weird, but they stuck a VCP out there, or a rock checkpoint, and that's all that was about. And it was a really slow piece, and it was something that really hasn't been driven on hardly at all. If, you know, maybe this week was the first time, I don't know. Then we work our way into not her problem and idle issues. And that's when I started kind of having problems again with the fuel pumps, and I realized things were getting grim. So I started going down through idle issues, or not her problem actually, and I started seeing my fuel pressure readings just like spiking, you know, from 58, hitting 15, up to 20, back to 40, up to 50, just all back all over. And I even would try to run the second fuel pump, and it barely did anything different. And I had a feeling we were running out of fuel, and we should have had enough fuel to get us through the race. And I had to the car kept shutting off, and I was able to get through not her problem and idle issues with just kind of being really reckless with the car. And it was hard because it didn't have the torque and the low end power that it can have, so I had to just huck it up everything. And then we got to the bottom sand wash at Chocolate Thunder, and I tried to charge up, and the motor was just pewtering out. It didn't have fuel pressure, and so I had to back down the sand hill and just give it all the gas it had, and it was running really low on power. And then once we got into the rocks, I chose to do the driver's side line that the 4400 cars usually do. And
you want to put another winch line on this broken case?
No, I got
3 spots.
Yeah, we'll just leave it off. So anyways, we hucked it right up Chocolate Thunder, one shot at all those rocks, and it looked really good. And when we were coming through it, that's when I finally took my first Venom Power tire out in 2 seasons. Blew the driver front out, but I hit those rocks insanely hard, and that's what I had to do. And I didn't even realize it went out. Jesse's like, I heard a poof, and I didn't really care at that point because it was like we just cleared this, it looked good. And then once we started taking the exit of the little hill climb out of Chocolate Thunder, like the fuel pressure just went dink, 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 you know, and the motor was popping, and it just so anyways, after the fuel pressure ran out and the car shut off and we're on that little incline, I knew what happened. There was no gas in the cell, and the gauges said the same thing. The fuel pump sounded the way it does when there's nothing in it, and I couldn't even get the car to start and back up. So what happened was we had to just radio in and say, hey, you know, we need some fuel, and that was going to DNF us. And at one point we were in 9th place, and I had no idea. And then after we were asked for fuel and said we're going to DNF, the co-pilot, you know, he was texting, and he told me, he's like, you know, Ross, we were in 9th. I had no idea. We were doing the best I've ever been out here at Johnson Valley doing, and I didn't know that. And I don't think it's hit me yet, you know, that we were doing really well. I just know that the car was performing better than it ever has, and I felt real good about our driving today. And so it's a course worker was able to give us 3 gallons of gas, and the car fired right up, and I drove it out of there and drove it back here to Hammertown, even with the flat tire. You know, we're still ripping 40 miles an hour, and it didn't even phase the thing. So ultimately what happened was, when we went into Rock Pit 2 on the lap 2, we didn't get enough fuel from our support, and I don't think it was their fault or anything, but that's just what happened. We didn't get enough gas. There should have been enough gas to get through and back out in the desert, not even touching the car, and it was flat out empty. So I don't know if I'm bummed out. I just know that Jesse and I worked our butts off to be able to do this race, and it does make me sad, because we were actually killing it, you know, for us, you know. And I think ultimately what it comes down to is I'm obsessed with doing this, and the only way I can describe it is if what you would see a drug addict, you know, they never get their fix, and I don't ever get my racing fix, but it's sure fun while you're doing it. And I was pretty for sure today we were gonna roll up onto the box today and give our interview and talk about our support and our family, our sponsors, and I was pretty for sure of it, like I could foresee it, but it just didn't happen, you know. And I'm grateful that we didn't get hurt. We did see some nasty wrecks and rolls. The car is pretty much in one piece, even though it's got some fluid leaks. But my family came out to support me for this, and we have such a shoestring crew. And we met some brand new people out here today, 2 other racers, Randall and Rob, and the 3 of us kind of got together and put our resources together and made a makeshift race team. And you know what? I think we did all really good today. So I don't know what happened with Rob or Randall and their cars today. I don't know where they're at, but those guys.
What are you doing, Dad?
What am I doing? I'm talking about the race. What are you doing?
Put these in my Sky's hair.
Okay.
Hair extensions.
Eric's, where'd you get those?
Oh, Maddie let me have these.
Oh, those are beautiful.
I'm gonna use them for my dogs.
Okay, are you gonna put them in there? Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna go take my kids out on some rips in the desert, and we're gonna pack up and go off on our next adventure. So tomorrow, yeah, we're leaving here. So I really want to thank everybody that watches these videos, you know, that contributes to supporting what I'm doing by, you know, giving me, you know, airtime on YouTube, and follows me on the 4802 Racing page on Facebook, and my Instagram page, RossFXP 4802. You know, those of you that like my videos, like my pictures and stuff, that means a whole lot to me, because I'm just one person, and even when I get 10 people out there that like my stuff, you know, that makes me feel like I'm doing something right. And I'm I'm really proud of my family for coming out here and suffering in the desert for a few days just to watch me do this. You know, that's a lot to ask. But I'm gonna let you guys go. And I wish I could have got more GoPro footage throughout the day of the race, but the batteries, they don't last very long. I don't know what to do about that yet. But you know, I feel like we accomplished something pretty good this whole week as we've been here. And we made some new friends. We had a good time out in the car. You know, all my sponsor parts, you know, held up really good. I mean, these Venom Power tires, that's my new favorite thing on this car. So they've been helping me since last season. And the crew came out 2 days ago. We did some videos out there, and they're gonna be putting out a video of Venom Power tires, and they're gonna show me doing some stuff out in the desert. So look out for that. You know, but my race line bead locks, straight flawless. You know, my worn winch went through some battle damage, but we'll talk about that later. My Yukon gears in the back 14 bolt, and those are 513s. Those are straight together. My trail gear limit straps, the reservoir for the steering, the orbital from trail gear, those things are in great shape. You know, those are things that I get help with. So I'm about out of words. I just wish we got a finish. But on the flip side, we're not getting drug out of the back of the mountain over there. So maybe next year we'll get it, you know. But I'll see you guys next time. If you haven't, like, follow, subscribe to my channel, my social media pages. I'd really appreciate it. And I appreciate you guys for watching my stuff.
We made it back. We got about 3/4, 7/8 of the way up Chocolate Thunder.
But we cleared the rocks though.
We cleared the rocks. We were in the smooth, easy going part, and unfortunately we ran out of fuel. We may not have received all the fuel that we needed or that we could have taken in one of the pits. We had some issues leading up to maybe probably the last 5 miles. It seemed like we worked our butts off to get off a jackhammer. We had angels looking out for us. We've got a neighbor here at camp that happened to be broke down and helped us get off of that hill. We had a winch line snap 10, 12, 15 times it seems. It was quite the experience, you know what I mean? We worked hard. It was disappointing to run out of fuel, but at the same time, that gives us something to address next year in a pit meeting, in a crew meeting.
That and us getting a working fuel gauge.
Yeah.
I had the Holy laser level working here when I got here, and then it kapowed after a day. And thing is brand new.
Yep.
So that would make a difference.
We had a fuel filter issue early on, and Ross was able to identify it rapidly. We pulled over, and I don't know if we had stopped for 10 minutes, 15 minutes at the most.
I think it was a half hour.
Was it that long?
I really do, yeah.
It seemed like it went so fast, like we were stopped and we were moving again in no time. I'll check later because I was sending messages that we stopped, and then
I heard your phone being
so I got the timeline going. I just don't know it offhand right now. Ross got that going. We got in the truck. We started boogieing again. We made it back to pit 1. We took fuel. They shook the car down. They made some adjustments to
and that was Maxis.
At the Maxis pit. We've got the best dudes over there. Maxis Racing has the best pit support team on the lake bed.
They're phenomenally nice too, you know, on top of it, you know.
They shook the car down, they looked it over, they addressed any and all issues that they could that needed to be addressed so we can get out. Once we left main 1, we had open field in front of us, and where we drove that first lap, what seemed totally blindfolded and in the dust, we had visibility again.
Perfect. It was perfect. Like nobody was there.
We went from doing 30 miles an hour to back to doing 55 and 60, and it was incredible.
Well, some points it was in the mid 70s.
I think I seen 72 or 73 on there. We were partying. We were kicking it. It was That we had a tiring experience on jackhammer, but we prevailed. We refused to quit. There was a few times where it was a contemplation, like what do we do next? We have a great neighbor over here at Ross's camp. I didn't catch his name. I will be back over here later to introduce myself and get his information and just thank him, offer him some food or some sort of hospitality for his help, because he seriously helped us get off of that hill. He was staging winch points ahead of me. I would work one lower section. He would go set a line up the hill. That way it was ready for attachment
Which helped
point.
so much to keep the flow going, you know?
What I mean? Ultra4 race staff that was out there on the course, those guys helped us immensely. I was struggling with the winch. We lost the attachment bolt holding the line to the drum. So I was trying to run magna stoppers and timber hitches and any kind of rendering I could of the rope to get it to cinch on the drum. Was able to salvage the 10 or 12 maybe feet of winch line that we had.
The very base of it, yeah.
Yeah, the very base. The neighbor had brought over a section, an extra section that he had taken off. Maybe it was too much for his line, but he had an extra set. He brought it over to us. We spliced into it using soft shackles, and we proceeded to pull cable as much as we could. We probably broke our worn winch.
Yeah, the case broke.
Yeah, the case broke because we had the knots and the soft shackles.
And that sucks because that was the 9.5 XP S, and that's been my favorite winch because it has such a faster line pulling speed. Yep. And it actually, the electronics in it have been better to where they're not bogging down the amps on the alternator. But what I can say is this 300 amp Mechman alternator,
yeah,
the volts, dude, we're not even getting taxed. That thing, like, it was like it didn't even, it's like we weren't even doing winching.
We prevailed. We made it up and through Jack, and we were elated. We were so happy to be moving again and not be stuck in that audience. Not that the audience was bad; they were very helpful, trying to give me ideas on running knots or taking different lines, different options. We experienced great spectators all over. We had almost strayed over a really large drop off. There was a group of gentlemen down at the bottom to kind of flag us off and tell us no, don't go down.
Yeah, that was that one. Dave Cole did that big old endo down 2 years ago. Yeah, because the way the lines came up on the GPS, it literally looked like that's what you were going to do. And I'm like, all right, we did this before. Okay, I'm ready for it, you know, but thank God we didn't, because that would have been crappy to come back up to get back on the race course.
Yeah, we Chris Shaw, Byron Smith, Matt Stevens, Jack Veneer, working over at the Maxis pits. Thank you guys. They sent fuel out to us. We had to take fuel from course staff to get off course. They gave us about 3 gallons of fuel in the middle of the course.
Yeah, and then the car fired right up.
Ran just like it should. Found a broken frame.
Oh, that broke again, dude. That did that before.
Over here on this side as well.
Right here. Yeah, it just needs. See, I put this gusset in afterwards. It did it again.
Right at the bottom.
That's all right.
Getting back to the fueling, you know, we got fuel. Ross was able to take off and get up the hill. We had more fuel brought out to us. That way we were able to replenish the supply for
back to the staff
in case somebody else came through and needed fuel, and if they were in the same situation we were in. So the fuel that came from the support truck went back to them, and we took the remaining 2 gallons and put it back into the truck. We drove the truck back from Chocolate Thunder with a totally blown out tire. I don't know if Ross had
this is so yeah, this is the only one.
We chooched that boy.
Two King of the Hammers that was on the front passenger, but you know what? We one shot a Chocolate Hammer. Yep. That's what it took. That's what Chocolate Thunder.
Chocolate Hammer.
But that's what it took.
Yeah.
You know, to get ready.
And if we could have got to the top, we would have jumped out and changed it, and we would have been making our way further to the finish. Yeah, I'm coming. It was a great try. We put in the effort. We put in the work. We're gonna try again next year. That's our option. We're gonna overcome. It was a teaser finishing 2 years ago. You know what I mean?
With a brand new car.
Yeah, brand new car,
Never even been driven.
here we go. We made it. You know, and that wasn't a smooth sailing trip either. You know, a flat tire 9 or 10 miles in, a small car fire.
Yeah, that Nexon tire went out. And then we had that little, the fuel rail came loose, but we fixed them right up.
Fixed those problems, and then we got back out on course, and we drove. We made it to the finish. And getting through the jackhammer and all the winching and stuff, I just had the feeling we were there. We made it through that, and we were gonna make it. Lo and behold, we found a little bit of a surprise with the fuel shortage, but.
Yeah. So the big thing is when I went over to our other neighbors, they have the AIM booth. They got this PDM module, and it's like a reverse fuel counter. I was talking to him about it yesterday, and basically it'll take data of the fuel coming out of that cell, and they even have a fuel level that they have too. But basically it's 2 ways of us knowing, you know, do we have enough fuel? And then they got another module too that'll actually keep track of like miles per gallon integrated in an odometer. So instead of having our Holley screen that just has, you know, these are the miles you've driven forever, it's like a trip meter. And then with that, we can start calculating how much miles per gallon in the desert we're getting, how many miles per gallon in the rocks we're getting. Yeah. Those are things
having
right
that
now,
knowledge is key.
Right now, that would have changed this race if we would have had that equipment in the car.
Just knowing the fuel level at remote too, we would have known that they didn't give us enough. Yeah. If that's the case, and that can really be the only case, there's no way that we suck down that much fuel in 7 miles.
No, and the thing is too, if we do get a Starlink eventually, then that would give us the option to radio even to pit and say, hey, you know, because we could do it with a cell phone, and we
need
could say,
this many gallons.
We need 17 gallons or whatever, you know, and they would be ready on the fuel mat with 17 gallons and people to pick it up, you know. So I think the communication with the data reading and knowing, you know, how to, instead of using the VHF radio, I think that would really make our stuff a game changer. The other thing too is getting Bluetooth headsets for when we are winching, getting out of the car to talk to each other. That would phenomenally change the game, because you can't hear nothing when there's chaos going on. When you're trying to winch, you got motors everywhere, you got cars driving on each other, cars rolling. You don't even know what you're thinking in your own head. It's that bad. So Bluetooth headsets is something I want to invest in for next year too. That would really help us out. And then, you know, maybe look into a fresh winch rope too, you know, for this race, and not use one from last year.
Yeah, and you know, I messed with the winch a little bit last night in hopes that if we
you got the gremlins out of it.
That's
what the WD-40 was.
That way we weren't fighting it if we had to use it. And my philosophy was, we paid attention to it, we won't need it. Had we put the new winch line on it last night, maybe we wouldn't have had to use it at all today. Maybe that was our sign to say, hey, this thing ain't working right. The winch was doing fine. It was just an old cable.
Yeah, the cable's what brought on all the issues, you know, and that's everything out here has a time limit where things expire, you know, like running out of gas. Everybody gonna run out of gas, you gotta put gas in. Well, need a new rope every year. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah, and maybe next year it wouldn't be a terrible thing to have a second one.
Yeah, I mean, well, we used the winch rope extension. That thing, we put that thing to abuse. I don't even know do we still have it even? So that winch rope extension, that one's one I got from JM Rigging Supply. Jim Markham actually gave me that years ago, and yeah, there it is.
This was our savior in the rocks.
There it is right there.
This protective sheeting on it was keeping the abrasions and all that off the rocks. I mean, you could see we worked it, we used it. It's bound up. We were using it in a sling style. We weren't really choking it, so it wasn't binding on itself, but we were getting the double, like a sling style pull off of it.
So I think this one, I'm gonna maybe butcher this to Jim, and I don't mean it. I think they call this Edema or something, but this is made in the United States, you know, so this isn't a China rope or anything, but I can tell you I've had really good luck with these ropes in the past, and we didn't have a JM Rigging Supply rope on the winch. I think honestly that would be a good ticket for a first choice to go on this car for this next year.
It would.
Yeah, because this thing went through hell and back, and this is several seasons old.
It's too easy to buy the cheap Chinese stuff off of Amazon to save $1.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't,
Well,
if
yeah,
it doesn't work
yeah.
but 1 or 2 times, what good is it?
And it was a Warren that we had on there, but I don't know where the Warren sources their stuff, but I can tell you Jim takes a lot of pride in his ropes, and he should, because they work really good. So,
Not saying that you had the Amazon winch. I'm just using that as comparison. It is easy to just,
yeah.
man,
Well,
this one's only $40 or $50 instead of $150.
well, it's one of those cases of, you know, when you can get an American product, there is a reason you're paying more for it.
Yeah.
You know,
There's a lot of lookalikes out there. It looks like it'd be a good working, good functioning piece of equipment. But the manufacturer's like, if you don't know what's really what it's manufactured with, what kind of fibers.
so I think our biggest problem today wasn't the fuel, the lack of fueling, wasn't the dirty fuel filters. It was, bottom line is, if our winch, we had it prepared more, that it would have really significantly sped things up.
Oh, it would have. We wouldn't have broke lines, and I wouldn't have been so frustrated. I wouldn't have been so winded. After the first two times, it was like, oh no.
Less idle time on the car, and you know, sledgehammer we were in there, or jackhammer. That may have gave us enough vapors to make it back to pit 2 to get some more fuel. You know, that could have been it. Maybe you'll never know.
All the little ingredients add up. You know, it's all part of the equation. Each little piece.
You know, I smell French fries right now.
Oh,
Do you
yeah,
smell that?
I thought I smelled stir fry. I smell food blowing this direction. That's for sure.
Pizza. I'd like to take a buffet right now. I don't care what it is.
Crunchy peanut butter.
Well, I want to thank Jesse.
Hey, thank you, Ross.
This guy's been phenomenal in my car. I met him as a complete stranger 2 King of the Hammers ago. Well, this would have been our 3rd, but 2 years ago technically.
Correct.
We didn't know each other. We found each other through the co-pilot. What is that?
Co-drivers off-road.
Yeah.
Charles Mays. Thank you, brother. You are appreciated.
Yeah, so because of that Facebook page, that's how we got networked together. I had a co-pilot drop out, and all of a sudden this guy just showed up, and he's been here ever since. And it's an amazing thing to have this guy. I mean, look at him, you know, he's like Hulk, you know, and being in the car, and it's a good time too. So, you know, I just really want to thank you a ton, Jesse.
I'm here to be your cheerleader,
coming out
brother.
and being
Keep
my brother.
your head
Yeah,
right. Yeah, no, brothers for sure.
Yes.
Brothers forever,
So,
man. We're gonna run this thing again.
Yeah, I can't thank you enough for coming out and putting yourself through this misery, you know, to come out with me.
I like to party, dude. That's it. I'm here to party. It's a good time. It's taxing. It hurts sometimes, but at the same time, like, it's a lifestyle. This is a family event. I'm here with Ross, with his family, my family over at Maxis. We are a family. King of Hammers 2026.
Fucking love you, brother.
Love you too, dude.
Thank you.